We gather together as a community of seekers to honor the interdependence of life, to respect the dignity of all, and to honor the land we walk humbly upon. Friends, let us gratefully acknowledge that we walk upon the traditional territories of the Tawakoni, Kickapoo, Wichita, and several Caddo tribes, including Kika, Ionis, and Tonkawa, the original nations of this land who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. We also honor the diverse and vibrant Native communities who make their home here today. We're blessed with the space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to live out our dream of a world community of peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forward as we journey and worship together. Blessed be. Our land acknowledgement is motivated by genuine respect and support for Native peoples and is a work in progress. Speaking and hearing words of recognition is an important step in creating collaborative, accountable, continuous, and respectful relationships with Indigenous nations and communities. As is our custom, if you'd like to come and light a candle for a joy, a challenge, or just to bring more light into this room, please do so while we sit in stillness, listening to the prelude.
Children of the earth, we have come to sing to each other, sisters and brothers, songs of our Mother Earth. Children of the earth, autumn soon will breathe her last breath, and quick will her death bear witness to winter's birth. Children of the earth, can you feel the air getting cold as darkness takes hold and sleep covers Mother Earth? Children of the earth, we have come to sit in the darkness, breathe in the silence, think of our Mother Earth.
Please rise in body or spirit for our chalice lighting and spoken affirmation. We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature, and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains. Join me as together we remind ourselves of the affirmation that is a cornerstone of our free faith tradition. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in freedom, and to help one another. We light this peace candle to remind us of all the places in the world where there is no peace. Join me in the words now on the screen. Lead me from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead me from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead me from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts, our world, our universe. You may be seated. Today's opening thought comes from an excerpt from Why We Serve, Native Americans in the United States Armed Forces, from americanindian.si.edu. During World Wars I and II, hundreds of Native American servicemen from more than 20 tribes used their indigenous languages to send secret coded messages enemies could never break. Known as code talkers, these men helped U.S. forces achieve military victory in some of the greatest battles of the 20th century. Ultimately, approximately 534 American Indian code talkers were deployed in World War II. The U.S. Marine Corps, which operated the largest code talking program, sent approximately 420 Diné or Navajo language speakers to help win the war in the Pacific. In Europe, Comanche code talkers participated in the D-Day invasion of Nazi-occupied France, as well as many of the major campaigns that crushed the Third Reich. Our song is number 67, We Sing Now Together.
We sing now together our songs of thanksgiving, rejoicing in goods which the ages have wrought. For life that enfolds us and helps and heals and holds us and leads beyond the goals which our footsteps once sought. We sing of the freedoms which martyrs and heroes have won by their labor, their sorrow, their pain. The oppressed befriending, our ampler hopes defending, their death becomes a triumph, they died not in vain. We sing of the prophets, the teachers, the dreamers, designers, creators, and workers and seers, our own lives expanding, our gratitude commanding. Their deeds have made immortal their days and their years. We sing of community now in the making, in every far continent, region, and land, with those of all races, all times and names and places. We pledge ourselves in covenant firmly to stand.
Our first reading today is an excerpt from the book Code Talker by Chester Nez with Judith Chies Avila. I'm no hero, Chester Nez chuckles. I just wanted to serve my country. I just wanted to serve my country. To appreciate that remark, you need to know a little modern Native American history. In Chester's home state of New Mexico, Native Americans were still denied the vote when he volunteered as a Marine in World War II. Nevertheless, the military called upon Chester and fellow Navajos to devise a code that many analysts believe assured the United States' defeat of Japan in the South Pacific. Join us now for our time of practices with words, stillness, and music. Our words are from Prayer for Compassion by Elizabeth Tarbox. Spirit of life, I give thanks for the opportunities to love that present themselves in the turmoil of life. Where the light catches the tears in another's eyes, where hands are held and there are moments without words. Let us be present then and alive to the possibility of changing. Let us seek to make another's well-being the object of our concern. Let us seek to be present in another's pain, to bathe another's wounds, hear another's sadness, celebrate another's success, and allow the other's stories to change our own. Let us stand in the morning on damp grass, hear the syllables of birdsong, and fill up on sweet air that rolls over oceans and continents. Let us look up at the stars and the planets that fill the night sky with majesty. Let us witness the first fresh buds of spring amid the brown sticks of winter. And for all this, let us be grateful. Let us not defend ourselves against the discomfort of unruly emotion, nor seek to close down our hearts for fear a new love will come to shake our foundations. Let us instead be open to discovering a new way of seeing an old problem, or appreciating the perfection of a seashell, or the possibility of friendship. For in giving ourselves to what we do not understand, we receive life's blessings, and in taking care of another, we are cared for. Our second reading today is from Rethinking Thanksgiving Celebrations, Native Perspectives on Thanksgiving, published on the website of the National Museum of the American Indian. The first Thanksgiving is often portrayed as a friendly harvest celebration where pilgrims and generic, nameless Indians came together to eat and give thanks. This story is a myth that was sparked in the mid-1800s when English accounts of the 1621 harvest event resurfaced and fueled the American imagination. Romanticized paintings and stereotypical images of, quote, pilgrims and, quote, Indians celebrating the, quote, first Thanksgiving became part of the national nostalgia and manifest destiny sentiment as the United States pushed west. Sarah Josepha Hale, an influential editor of a magazine called Godey's Lady Book, led a campaign for a national Thanksgiving holiday, and the first Thanksgiving myth played into her agenda. In 1863, President Abraham Lincoln declared a national Thanksgiving in November to celebrate gratitude and unity amidst the turmoil of the Civil War. In the decades that followed, the first Thanksgiving myth and the national holiday evolved into a foundational national story reinforced by memorials, holiday marketing, literature, and school curriculums. Our next song is number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. We welcome our speaker this morning, Adam Brian Salazar. He says of himself, I am the community liaison for the Historic Preservation Department at Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. I have been with the nation for over 2 years. I am friendly, helpful, polite, and have a good sense of humor. I'm also a dedicated father with 2 beautiful children. Again, welcome, Adam. We have a small remembrance for you in the form of a bookmark. Come on up. Here's this.
Thank you.
Your turn.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Adam Salazar. I work for the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma Historic Preservation Department. And what we do is we protect, we'll preserve Choctaw history and culture by protecting historic sites and sacred artifacts to the Choctaw people. So today I'm here to speak about the original code talkers and a battle which they were involved in. A lot of people think that, Navajos were the first code talkers, but Navajos weren't used till later. So I'm just, I wanted to speak about these. I'm happy to speak and honored to speak about these people. So these Choctaw code talkers, who were at the time were known as telephone warriors, they left a legacy not just for the Choctaw people, but for the state of Oklahoma and in America. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. So World War I was from 1914 to 1918, with United States joining in 1917. At this time, thousands of Native Americans had joined. They joined for many reasons. Some joined to better their lives for them and their families. Some joined to gain respect as warriors, and some joined to defend their tribes and their land. So when United States entered World War I, Oklahoma had a single National Guard regiment known as the 1st Oklahoma Infantry, which leads me to my next slide here. This is the 36th Division. It was made of the 141st Infantry, the 142nd Infantry, the 143rd Infantry, and the 144th Infantry. Around 4 months after United States entered World War I, the 1st Oklahoma Infantry transferred from Fort Sill, Oklahoma to Camp Bowie, Texas, where the 36th Infantry Division was assembled and trained. The patches in the middle represent, the arrowhead represents Oklahoma and the T represents Texas. That was the 36th Division's patch. The 142nd Infantry, known as Company E, was also known as the Indian Company. This is because out of 215 men, almost all of them were native, and around 60 of them were Choctaw. So, if you look at the picture, you'll notice that most of them are Native Americans, except for the officers who are non-native. But a lot of these soldiers, native soldiers, came from boarding schools where they was like pretty much made for war. They in boarding schools they made their beds every morning. They put down the flags. They lined up for dinner, and so they were kind of like made for the war. I would say. And so the first unit of the division transferred to France for action in May 1918, and the last in August 1918. The first use of the Choctaw code talkers played a key role in American attack on Forest Farm during World War I, when they used their native language to communicate orders and coordinate the assault. The French were assigned twice to take down the Germans' position, who were cut down in great numbers and lost hundreds of men. The 36th Infantry pulls up and is given the task. 8 Choctaws were selected by Captain E.W. Horner and ordered to send messages in Choctaw and translate back to English. One of the Choctaws' first messages was used to extract 2 companies on the night of October 26, 1918. The 36th Division kills approximately half of the 500 there, and the others began to give up. The Americans only lost 14 men in the whole assault. This showed that even though the Germans were listening in, they gave Americans the element of surprise. For months, the Germans had a well-fortified area that no one was able to push until the 36th Infantry took it in only 2 days. Code talkers continued to be used after the battle to assist in evacuating wounded and casualties. 2 weeks after the battle, on November 11th, the armistice was signed. So if you look at the pictures, in the middle would have been the telephone they would have used. They have different ways of communication during the war. They used color flare guns, pigeon run. It even had runners to deliver messages, and they said 1 out of 4 messengers were either caught, captured, or they were killed. So the best way to communicate was through the telephone. The Battle of Forest Farm was from August 26th to 27th, 1918, and on the left is a map of the battle. If you at the top is like a horse shape. The Germans were elevated. If you look at the left picture, the Germans were elevated like 40, 50 feet, and they were surrounded by a river, so they couldn't be flanked, and they were just shot down on anything that approached them. So what the Choctaws did, they translated messages in Choctaw, and like a barrage of bullets. They would start at the bottom and work their way. They were sending fire, and the Americans would walk behind the fire until eventually the shots rained on top of the Germans, and they were forced into their dugouts, to the trenches, and the Americans just end up on top of them and captured them. Even though this was a small battle of a much bigger war, it showed how the Choctaw language was used as a weapon. And the irony of this is that while this was going on in America, in the boarding schools, some students were being physically punished for speaking their native language. Here are a few words that they would have used that the Choctaw code talkers came up with. For example, like the word first battalion, the tribe would call it the 1 grain of corn, which is Tanchi Nihi Achafa. And then 2 grains of corn would have been Tanchi Niha Tuklo. And just a few lists of more words. They got stone, it's just Tali. Warrior is Tushka. So there's just a list of words that they came up with. This is the one of the most famous pictures. It's on the brochure. And these were some of the 8 men that were chosen during the Battle of Forest Farm. And I would like to speak about these men. From the left is Solomon Lewis. From left to right is Solomon Lewis, Mitchell Bob, James Edwards, Calvin Wilson, and Joe Davenport with their captain E.W. Horner. And all these men, they treasured this picture. And even the captain, he kept this picture on his wall his whole life until he died. That's E.W. Horner on the right. He's the one that chose these men. So, Solomon Lewis was born April 22nd, 1899 at Hochatown, Eagle County, Choctaw Nation, in Indian Territory. He later moved to Bryan County. He was a corporal in the 142nd Infantry, Company E. He was underage when he entered the armed services. He attended Armstrong Academy. When his older friends enlisted, Lewis pretended to be 18 so that he too could join. Solomon passed away February 1972 at the age of 72. Next to him, Mitchell Bob was born January 7, 1895 in Indian Territory. He died in 1922 at the young age of 27. James Edwards was born on October 1898 in Glover, Oklahoma. Edwards also, a few of these men out of the company, a lot of them went to Armstrong Academy, which is I believe it's in Caddo. It's close to Durant, but a lot of these men came from Armstrong Academy. James Edwards was a corporal in Company E, in the 142nd Infantry. Edward passed away October 1962 at the age of 64. Calvin Wilson was born June 25th, 1895 at Eagletown, Eagle County, Choctaw Nation, Indian Territory. He was a member of the 142nd Infantry and passed away in 1972 at the age of 77. Joe Davenport was from Findlay, Oklahoma, was born February 22nd, 1892, and died April 23rd, 1923, at the age of 31. He is buried at the Davin Cemetery, Family Cemetery at Tucker Ranch. And these men who aren't in the picture, they were part of it too. The one on the left, you can't see his name. His name is Noel Johnson. Then Ben Hampton, Tobias Frazier, and Robert Taylor. These were men a part of the 142nd Infantry. Noel Johnson was born August 1894 at Smithville, Indian Territory, and attended Dwight Indian Training School. He was sent home from France with ammonia in 1919, and before he made it home, he died at the young age of 25. Benjamin Hampton was born May 31st, 1892 in Bennington. He was a private in the 142nd Infantry of Company E. Tobias Frazier was born August 1892 in Spencerville. He served in the 142nd Infantry. He passed away November 1975 at the age of 83. Robert Taylor was born January 13th, 1894 in Idabel, McCurtain County. He was also a member of Company E. So these two men right here, they weren't part of the Battle of France, but they played a major role in World War I. The statue in the middle, we got a statue of this in front of the Choctaw Cultural Center. It's actually the Tuskahoma, the Red Warrior. The face was modeled after Joseph Oklahoma. So if y'all ever see that statue, just know Joseph Oklahoma. That's what the face was modeled after. But I'm gonna share a couple stories about these two men. Like I said, they weren't part of the battle, but they have a good story. Otis Leader was 34 when he joined the Army. He was in the 1st Division, the 16th Infantry. On the night of November 2nd, 1917, Leader's company drew the first relief assignment, moving into the trenches at France. The following day, his company defended the flank in the first engagement of Americans in combat of World War I. On May 28, 1918, Leader was wounded and gassed during the American offense of Cantigny, but rejoined his division in July. In the next battle, he crawled through a ravine to attack a machine gun nest, getting within 60 feet of the enemy. Leader picked up a rifle and fought with the infantry after his own machine gun crew had all been killed. Attacking the German positions, Leader captured 2 machine guns and 18 enemy soldiers manning them. Fast forward at 1955, the Oklahoma House of Representatives praised Leader as an outstanding soldier of World War I. He was buried in Colgate in 1961. A French artist was commissioned by the French government to paint a portrait of an ideal American soldier. This Choctaw Indian Otis Leader was selected as his model. The painting is now in Paris in the Army Museum, and a reproduction is at the Choctaw Museum at Tuskahoma. The story of Otis, the Otis Leader, they said he joined because him and one of his cattle partners were in Texas, and he kept getting mistaken for a spy. So as soon as he kept getting mistaken, they said after that he just immediately joined the Army. Joseph Oklahoma, he lived in McCurtain County. He was a member of the 141st Infantry. Private First Class Oklahoma Private First Class Oklahoma was cited as capturing more men in the Champagne sector of France than Sergeant York did in a comparable and more famous event in the Argonne Forest during the same time of October 11, 1918. About 5 weeks before the armistice in 1918, Oklahoma and his division were cut off from the rest of the company. As a scout, Oklahoma was in the lead when he and another 23 men came across a German machine gun emplacement with about 50 trench mortars. Oklahoma moved about 200 yards over open ground against artillery and machine gun fire, rushing the machine gun nest and capturing one of the guns. Turning the weapon on the enemy, the Americans held the Germans down with Oklahoma and Ben Carterby blistering fire for 4 days without food or water until they surrendered. Of the enemy, 171 were taken prisoner. There's a few monuments honoring these soldiers. In Fort Worth, they put up a plaque honoring the Choctaw Code Talkers at the Fort Worth Stockyards, and they put a monument for the World War I and World War II Choctaw Code Talkers and Broken Bow in front of the community center. I know this is hard to read, so if there's maybe afterwards, if y'all like to know exactly where these locations are at, I can share them with y'all. But what it is it's a Code Talkers highways, a list of Code Talker highways throughout Oklahoma, southeast Oklahoma mainly. But in 2013, the Oklahoma State Legislation named 55 miles of State Highway 3 between Antlers and Broken Bow the World War I Choctaw Code Talkers highways. Just right in Durant, west, a little bit of west of Durant, there's a few signs there. Again, I'll share the list with y'all later. There's more in the list of them. Honors and awards. Again, I apologize for it's hard to see, but here's a list of honors and awards, and I highlighted a few special ones. In 1986, the Choctaw Medal of Valor was presented at the Labor Day Festival. In 1989, November 3rd, the Knight of the National Order of Merit medal was presented by the French government on the steps of the Oklahoma State Capitol by the former Prime Minister, Pierre Mizmir. In 2007, September 16th, a Lone Star Medal of Valor was presented by the state of Texas at a ceremony at Camp Mabry in Austin. In 2012, November 9th, the Choctaw Code Talkers were inducted into the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame. In 2013, November, a Congressional Gold Medal was presented in Washington, D.C. This picture here was taken in October last year, 2023, when our chief, Gary Batten, and assistant chief went to visit France and paid their respects to the Choctaw Code Talkers and the soldiers of World War I. So this is something I learned a couple years ago. If you look at the bottom bullet, it says June 2nd, 1924. It marked the Indian Citizenship Act, granting citizenship to all Indians across the U.S. who were not already citizens. So a few years ago, a lot of people thought that's when Native Americans became citizens. But if you look at, now if I'll go back to the first two bullets, for the Choctaw Code Talkers, the Curtis Act of 1898 began the land allotment. And this is where all the five civilized tribe members became U.S. citizens by March 3rd, 1901. Also, when Indian Territory became the state of Oklahoma, November 16th, 1907, all Choctaws who lived in the territory were citizens through the Oklahoma Enabling Act. The Choctaw Code Talkers has an association where they pay respect to the Code Talkers, and this is their emblem. It's at the heart of the logo of the Choctaw Code Talkers Association is the military patch of the 36th Division of World War I, the division under which most of the Choctaw Code Talkers were served. The letter T within the center of the patch represents Texas companies, which were consolidated with the Oklahoma National Guard to form the 142nd Regiment of the 36th Division, which trained at Camp Bowie, Texas. The number 36 is superimposed on the letter T, which understandably represents the 36th Division, and there are 8 arrows from the men who helped, which symbolically electrified to stand for the Choctaw Telephone Squad, who were used to field phones to deliver the first Choctaw code messages. These are the fallen soldiers and where they're at. The Joseph, Oklahoma is buried at, so if you're around the neighborhood, if you're ever towards Oklahoma, maybe like some of these places are like 45 minutes away from here, you can stop by and pay your respects. Joseph, Oklahoma is buried at Broken Bow, McCurtain County. Solomon Lewis is buried in Boswell, Choctaw County. James Edwards is buried in East Tallahena, LaFleur County. Joseph Davenport is buried in Davenport Family Cemetery at Tucker Ranch in Pushmataha County. Well, if you ever get time, like I said, I got the information for the highways I could send you. But these are some books I recommend. I got Judy Allen has a presentation on the Choctaw website. So these are a few links where I got my information from. Y'all can check out. And that's all I have. Yakoki, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for y'all time and allowing me to be here. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. I can. If y'all have any questions, I can try my best to answer them. And if I don't have the answer, I can definitely find the answer and give them back to y'all. I think I know the answer.
How many different languages do the native code talkers use?
I want to say it was like 30-something, 36 or something like that during World War I. Right after that battle was used, like they used it through the whole war. There's other little fights. They used them to pull out. They used their native languages, not just the Choctaw language. I think it was like Cherokees and stuff to remove casualties and the wounded. So they were still using their language. Yep.
Have you ever heard how it developed that they started using the native languages? Who had the idea? Maybe someone of the maybe the Choctaws or another tribe suggested.
Yeah, I think they were just overheard speaking their language, because the Germans were known real good at tapping in the phones, so they kept breaking codes and stuff. And since the native language has never been documented, or there weren't no books on them or nothing, they weren't able to break it. So they were overheard talking their language, and then one of the sergeants just had the idea. Thanks again. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sure if anybody else thinks of any questions, he'll be happy to answer them apart from this. At this time of giving, the bowl awaits, or you may donate online. The song is number 404, What Gift Can We Bring?
What gift can we bring? What present, what token, what words can convey it? The joy of this day, when grateful we come, remembering, rejoicing, what song can we offer in honor and praise? Give thanks for the past, for those who had vision, who planted and watered so dreams could come true. Give thanks for the now, for study, for worship, for mission that bids us turn prayer into deed. This gift we now bring,
This present, this token, these words can convey it, the joy of this day. When grateful we come, remembering, rejoicing, this song we now offer in honor and praise.
For all that is alive, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days light. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days light.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit for the benediction and extinguishing the chalices. Go in Peace, Seeking Justice by Jim McGaugh. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go in mindless oblivion. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go without challenging yourself or others. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go in utter ease and comfort. When I say go in peace, I mean go in peace, seeking justice. I mean go in peace, committed to equal rights and opportunities for all. When I say go in peace, I mean go in the peace that is created when together we build communities of true solidarity, deep compassion, and fierce, unrelenting love. Go in peace. Please join me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, return in love.